Good news can often get overlooked or buried by the negative in our everyday lives. So let's change that. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Wyatt.
We're just two ordinary people without any special qualifications or anything, trying to navigate life. We invite you to join us as we share wholesome stories, news articles of hope, and ideas about how we can all make the world just a little bit brighter. We are uplifting positive stories. Welcome back to another episode of Uplifting Positive Stories. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Hope everybody's staying cool out there as we're recording this. Middle of July, we're in the middle of a big old heat wave up in Minnesota.
It's been so hot.
It's been in the upper 90s, which I know for other states that may not be the highest thing in the world, but for us that's pretty
Minnesotans, it is
high. And the fire danger is pretty high. There's a couple fires burning up in the Boundary Waters right now. They actually closed down the Boundary Waters. People aren't allowed to enter the Boundary Waters as of tomorrow,
Really?
Tuesday, which is yesterday for the listeners of the podcast. It's kind of crazy right now. So hopefully that can get in control soon. Point is, it's hot. So if you're watching on YouTube and we look a little glossy, I swear it's fine. It's fine.
We went
it's
to a family
glow.
picnic yesterday too, and it was hot.
Yeah,
it was a fun time, but it was hot.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully y'all are staying cool out there.
Mm-hmm.
Today's podcast is all about little actions, huge reactions. So we've done a similar theme in the past. It's just a good reminder that sometimes you don't have to have something to give in order to make an impact. Sometimes it's the little ordinary day-to-day things that you can do that are simple, but they can make a lasting impact for somebody that you would never have expected. And so that's just kind of the overall theme. Again, little things, but I think they're still really cool stories. I really do try. I hope people enjoy them. We'd really try to find stories that have something special about them, because there's so many out there of stories of simple, ordinary things that people do that are kind. We try to find ones that are a little bit more whoa, that's really cool, or something that sticks out a little bit more. But there are so many stories out there. So if you're looking just to feel good, there's so many you can find just by scrolling on certain pages. Random Acts of Kindness is a really good one on Reddit. And there's just so many stories on there. But we can only share so many. So I really try to filter them as much as I can to be, I don't know, extra fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, with that.
And keep your ears perked for occasional maybe baby sound cameos as he's just kind of chilling on his mat there, and he's rolling around a little bit. We're keeping a little eye on him. He's not crawling yet.
He's got a cute little Finding Nemo play mat that he likes to lay and play on and do his little tummy time. The funny thing is, though, he loves to be on his stomach and he rolls onto that, but he's still learning how to roll out of it. Mm-hmm. And so we might have to occasionally go fix that, because he'll get on his belly and then he'll go repeatedly until we roll him back.
But you'll never know because of the power of editing.
Yeah, exactly.
Seamless.
But right now he's just straight chilling. Anyways, we'll move on to our first story here, which is from Random Acts of Kindness, and this one is titled, "I gave the tallest man I've ever seen my exit row seat and it made me feel great." Here we go.
How tall is the tallest man to this person?
This one, he says
We've met some tall
over
people.
6'6" is what they say.
How tall was the guy at the one wedding we filmed?
Oh my gosh,
7
yeah,
feet?
we filmed a wedding where the guy was over 7 feet tall.
The groomsman.
Crazy.
But the bridesmaid he was paired with was under 5 feet. And so that was, filming wise, that was a real perspective challenge to keep them both in the frame.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's a me problem, though.
All right, here we go. I was traveling recently with some friends, and on the trip home, we missed our connecting flight. We ended up getting scattered seats on a flight a few hours later, and I ended up in the exit row. I've never been in an exit row before. After getting settled, someone came down the aisle, and he was so tall, he was hunched over just walking into the plane, and he took the tiny seat right behind me. His knee reached into the aisle and was literally beside me. This man was so freaking tall. So I turned around, tapped him on the knee, and I asked, "Hey, do you want to switch seats?" His expression literally turned into a puppy. He was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I'm so tiny. I'm 5'6", flexible and skinny, and I can do intricate origami with my body while on a plane. All that legroom was completely wasted on me." So we switched, and he was super grateful, and I even got an empty seat beside me, which let me sit with my legs crossed and do other origami. Even seated normally, I still had 4 to 6 inches of space between my knees and his seat. Turns out he'd also missed a flight and had just barely gotten onto this one. So those circumstances of both of us missing flights, ending up near one another, and it being extremely convenient to switch, I don't know, I think it was just meant to be. He was super thankful, and the flight attendants acknowledged it and said it was nice of me. Genuinely, his expression when I asked to switch made it all worth it. And the good feeling of having done a nice thing, too. I saw him in the airport later, sitting down, and wow, he was just all legs. I was too shy to ask how tall he was, but it had to have been over 6'6". So yeah.
Dang, I didn't realize that the exit rows have more leg room.
I truly didn't know that either.
I've never been in an exit row.
I've always avoided it just because I didn't want to have to get the whole spiel about, like, are you prepared in the event of an evacuation to get off, like, and help other people? And, like, I would do that, but, like,
do you accept the responsibility?
I would be really scared to do that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want that responsibility. I would feel too scared in the moment. So I try to avoid that. But I didn't know you get extra leg room. And nice of this person, OP, for doing that for him, because that would be so uncomfortable. Like, we've gone to, there's a theater called the Orpheum in the Minneapolis area.
I was just thinking about that too.
Which is great, but the seats, man,
in the balcony
so
especially,
close together. And so, like, I'm short and I, like, feel them up against my kneecap. And so poor Wyatt being taller than me, like, it's definitely uncomfortable.
Well, that'd be pretty bad for this gentleman. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
No.
Again, that's just in the balcony. Like, I think the ground floor seats are a little more spacious with the legs.
Yeah,
compared
but even
to the balcony.
still, when I was pregnant, it was like, oof, tight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't imagine that being uncomfortable for a flight, especially if it was a long flight. On to our next story here. This one comes also from Random Acts of Kindness, and it is titled, "It Really Does Not Take a Lot to Be Remembered Forever by People If You're Kind." Here we go. About a month ago, I went to my local Miniso to pick up a gift for my little sister for her birthday. I got her a blind box and some two of these rainbow sour stripes. As I was paying for it, the girl at the register mentioned to me that she'd been meaning to try them forever, but just hadn't gotten around to it. So I grabbed another box off the shelf and I bought that too. As I was leaving, I handed it to her and I told her to enjoy them. She was really surprised and kept asking if I was sure and if I really meant it. She finally took them after like 5 minutes of us going back and forth, and I left while she went to the back to go put them away. I went back to that same Miniso today, and she was there again and got so excited. She was so happy to tell me that she loved the candy, and it was one of her favorites, and she thanked me a ton for it. It just kind of dawned on me that it's really not that hard to be remembered forever by people if you're just nice to them. Like, that little box of candy cost me like $2.50, and a month after I gave it to her, she was still so happy and grateful for it, and it really makes me realize just how much easier and more rewarding it is to be kind.
I mean, yeah. True. I don't have anything to disagree with there. Like, just,
no.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep, be kind.
Be kind. I included that story because it's just a good reminder. Like, A, what are the chances of them meeting like a month later and like being like, oh my gosh, thank you again. Like, that's super cool. And that it made that lasting of an impact to that person. So, yeah. Another one here. Hurting my knee on vacation gave me faith in human kindness, from the same thread. This one says, or same subreddit, I should say. I slipped and hurt my knee hiking in a small town, and an elderly gentleman came over and said he would wait and help me when I was ready. So sweet. Then the local cafe gave me a bag of ice to put on it, and people everywhere were being very considerate. I waited out front of the pharmacy for it to open to get some Advil. A homeless man held the door open for me with compassion on his face for my pain. I was really encouraged that people's hearts are still working. Yeah, just like a bunch of like various actions.
All easy things anybody can do.
Exactly.
You don't need to invest a bunch of money. You don't need to like go out of your way for hours on end and completely disrupt whatever it is you're doing. Like, just like little things can make a huge, huge difference. I mean, if you're able to do more, great. But even just doing a small little series of gestures like that, it can go a long way.
A long way. Like, we'll talk more about this another movie Wyatt wants to mention. But we watched a movie called A Man Called Otto, which like a few days ago. And that movie like came out a while ago, but it's Tom Hanks.
2022, I think.
For any Tom Hanks fans out there. And basically he's this old kind of curmudgeon-y man who's very just grumpy all the time and very not polite with people.
He's
and
set
like
in his ways and is a set view of
ways.
like how things should be done, and gets a little grumpy when it's not being followed that way, or why people are kind of idiots to him, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he's like idiot, like a lot.
Yeah. And like, to him, like, he's like doing that, and then you find out later that it's because he lost his wife 6 months ago. Trigger warning for those that are gonna watch it. Like, it starts off like he's gonna commit suicide, and And so there are a lot of that kind of stuff in it, but it's not a dark movie. It's actually a really good feel-good movie. There's a lot of funny moments. It's really sweet moments, that kind of stuff. But basically, you find out later in the movie something that happened to him that affected him and
kind
has
of a
been
series of
affecting him.
things, really.
Yeah, really. And so with that, he ends up having a new neighbor that moves in, a couple, and they make him food. And then he has another person at one point that bakes him cookies. And like you can just see that affects him. Even on like a little level, it affects him in a way that you'll see throughout the movie. And eventually it's like his hard outer shell starts to melt more and more. And you never know how those little moments can really affect somebody. Especially if they're grumpy or curmudgeon-y. Like you never know what that could do for somebody. It can thaw a hardened heart. So just keep that in mind. Like even if someone's impolite to you, maybe still be kind anyways, because maybe that would help them. You know, like and like The Man Called Otto.
And for those who are like, well, that's just a movie. The movie was written by humans who've probably who are drawing from their experiences or drawing from other people's experiences.
Exactly.
Like, it's a good reflection of human connection.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's pretty powerful by the end.
It's a really good movie. Highly recommend. On to our next story. This one comes from the subreddit Kindness, and it is titled, "What is the nicest thing a complete stranger has ever done for you?" And someone responded with this. My husband was in the hospital dying. We were in a foreign country. I had to stand in long lines for hours at a time to get in to see him for just short periods of time. A man I didn't know asked me why I looked so upset. I told him about my husband's condition. He asked me my name and my husband's room number. He said he knew someone upstairs on a special floor who might help. I didn't expect to ever see him again. When I was leaving my husband's floor, the man was waiting for me with a special pass so that some of the lines and waiting time could be eliminated. I was able to use the pass for the days left before my husband died. I never saw this kind stranger again. Really, really sweet. Again, like you never know. You might have a privilege that someone else doesn't, and so sometimes that can mean way more to somebody than you could ever imagine, especially if, like in this situation, their husband was dying. Like, those last moments, you know, being able to be there a lot. So, on to our next one. This one also comes from the subreddit Kindness, and it is titled, "Customer covered my entire shift's tips because I helped his elderly mother."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here we go. I work at a coffee shop. Yesterday, an elderly woman came in, clearly confused about the menu and overwhelmed by the line behind her. People were sighing, checking their phones, the usual impatient crowd. I stepped out from behind the register, walked her through the menu slowly, helped her understand sizes and options, and made sure she got exactly what she wanted. It took maybe 4 extra minutes total. A man approached me at the end of my shift, said he was her son, had been parked outside waiting for her. He watched the whole thing through the window. I saw how you treated my mom. Everyone else was annoyed, but you made her feel like she mattered. She has dementia. Going out alone is hard for her, but she insists on it because she doesn't want to feel helpless. Then he handed me $200 cash. That's for being kind when you didn't have to be. Keep it all, don't share it with anyone. I tried to refuse and he wouldn't take it back. I've been in retail for 8 years. I've been screamed at, insulted, had drinks thrown at me, but this one interaction reminded me why I still try to be patient with everyone, even when it's hard. You never know what someone's going through, and you never know who's watching.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true.
Very, very true.
Working retail is hard.
It is.
Customer service is hard. Yeah.
But it's true.
For those who are new to the podcast, customer service is hard. Like if you haven't worked customer service, you really should. I feel like everybody should work customer service at least at one point. And because it's hard to you deal with a lot of people who are not in good spirits or kind of look down on you or take their stuff out on you or are annoyed by the minor of inconvenience, but yet you're still supposed to and expected to still treat everybody like with a smile on your face, but then to go above and beyond of I'm gonna give every single person grace and time even though I keep getting crap thrown at me, I think is a great reflection of strength of character.
Yeah. I will say, I'm not saying this story to pat myself on the back at all. It just was an eye-opening moment for me a little bit. So there was one customer that would come in a lot, and they repeatedly would get mad at little things. It was like a running joke that when this person would come in, everyone would be like, oh boy, what the worker up there is new, and they're gonna get a mouthful about something, and then you'd watch like the nicest worker be like, yeah, oh, and you couldn't hear the interaction, but you'd see their face of terror.
Yep.
And that was just like the running joke. It was like, and then when it happened, like we'd go up there and be like, it's not your fault. This just happens. You didn't do anything wrong.
Like, hey, so I see you met insert customer's name here. Like, what just happened? Like, you'll learn. You'll learn.
It's okay. Don't take it personally.
I mean, when you have, especially when you have recurring customer, you start to kind of learn their idiosyncrasies over time.
Yeah.
And this particular customer has those idiosyncrasies, but it's kind of funny to watch like someone new to
that
it,
doesn't know,
especially because you know like it's gonna be fine. They're gonna
it'll be okay.
They're
not gonna be like Superman to just get upset.
And sometimes the best way to deal with a bad customer interaction is to try to like poke fun with it afterwards. Like, hey, like it was kind of funny.
It makes
this
it
happen,
not as hard. Yeah,
makes it feel less personal.
Right, exactly. Like we've all been there.
Also, it kind of brings them in the fold a little bit, you know, like, hey,
exactly.
now you've
been initiated.
Welcome to the
welcome
movie
to the
theater.
Club. But what really stuck out to me, so there was one time this customer came in and she went up to the concession stand, and she had a reward on her card, and I was like, you have a reward, do you want to use it? Which is like a $5 reward or whatever. And she was like, but I looked at her thing and she had like $50 or something crazy on there, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, you have a bunch of money on here if you want to cover your pretzel bites. And she looked at me and she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you accrue points. And she's like, I don't understand. And I'm like, every time you spend $1 you get a point. Once you get to 100 you get $5, and you've got like 50 because you haven't spent them at all. And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, wow, see, I feel like people have tried to explain this to me before and I didn't get it. And like they would get flustered and kind of be like, never mind, and would move on. But like you took the time to actually explain this to me, and that was really nice of you. Thank you. And she like genuinely was nice in that moment. I mean, granted, I was telling her a happy thing, so like that's probably part of it. But the way she responded, like you could tell that she is used to being met with kind of like, because she's angry, being met with like, okay, move on kind of thing, you know? And so because she was acting that way initially when she came up to me, and I took the moment to like diffuse it and be like, let me explain this to you in a way that makes sense, and like I'm gonna be patient, and even though you're kind of angry and flustered talking to me, I'm gonna explain this to you because I think it's gonna help you. You're gonna save money on your next several transactions. Let me explain this to you in a very patient, nice way, even though you're meeting me with flustered anger. And I'm not saying that to like pat myself on the back by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a good reminder, I think, like especially like even for myself, that like sometimes you're met with anger and frustration, and sometimes you don't know what a little patience and what meeting somebody with kindness, even though they are like that, can do to them and can make them be happier individuals, and maybe they'll pass it on. And if we all could do that, how much better would the world be? If we could all meet people with a little bit more patience and compassion, because again, you never know what's going on in their lives, and you don't know why they're angry or they're frustrated or they're bitter, you know? So anyways, on to our article. This one comes from bbc.com, and it is titled, Young Women Now Have Close to Zero Risk of Cervical Cancer Death After HPV Jab. So children are vaccinated around the ages of 12 to 13 against HPV, which is human papillomavirus. And the kids that are get this vaccine have close to zero risk of dying from cervical cancer before the age of 30, according to landmark new research reveals. So the first study of its kind was done, and it shows that deaths have fallen sharply since school-age girls began being offered it in 2008. And around 200 lives have been saved in England so far thanks to the vaccine. Between the years of 2020 and 2024, there were no cervical cancer deaths recorded in women ages 20 to 24 for the first time that had happened over a 5-year period, versus if there had not been vaccinations, they predict that around 23 deaths would have been expected. According to Professor Peter Sassieni, who's the lead researcher at Queen Mary University of London, they said it's incredible to think that a single jab can almost eliminate a particular type of cancer. I think that's really cool.
Wow. I mean, zero cancer deaths. That's, I mean, for this type of cancer, but still,
cervical cancer, which I think is really hard to detect. I'm pretty sure.
I think
I could be very wrong.
I feel like a lot of cancers are hard to detect.
People might laugh at me, but I think that's the one you have to get a pap smear for in order to detect. I could be wrong. So. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one, different
probably.
Cancer. But yeah, so
I'm gonna just say probably.
I think that's really cool.
Without knowing for sure.
That that is been shown to be effective, that effective. So somebody in this article was interviewed. So a woman named Alexander Legg, she did not have the HPV vaccine when she was younger. In 2021, she was planning her wedding, and then she was diagnosed with cervical cancer at the age of 30. She says, I remember hearing the words, and I just couldn't really breathe very well. I was so upset. Everything went through my head. It was so hard. She had to have her lymph nodes removed from her abdomen. Surgeons were able to preserve a small part of her cervix, giving her a chance of becoming pregnant. And then a year later, she had her baby.
Okay.
Her name is Ivy. Her daughter's middle name is Marvella, meaning miracle. Because for 9 months, she was so scared because she was high risk of losing her baby, and she didn't.
That's scary.
Yeah. Alexander says her life could have been far less traumatic if she had been offered the HPV vaccine, and she urges those that are eligible to get it. I'm a real advocate for this vaccine, and when my daughter is old enough, she'll be first in the queue, is what she said. So, yeah.
Yeah. Aiming to save lives and, you know, and increase quality of life.
The UK government has pledged to eliminate cervical cancer as a public health problem by 2040. But the problem, the latest data shows that vaccination rates across the country have fallen below their recommended levels. Data from the UK Health Security Agency shows that 76% of girls in England were vaccinated by the age of 15 in 2024-2025, which is well below the 90% that the WHO, the World Health Organization, says is needed to eliminate cervical cancer. It's essential that the UK government and health systems urgently address this with targeted actions to reach communities where uptake is the lowest, says Michelle Mitchell at Cancer Research UK. And then a spokesman says, we are boosting vaccine uptake so that more young people benefit from this life-saving protection, including rolling out catch-up HPV vaccination campaigns via community pharmacies. And then HPV self-testing kits are also being sent out to women who have not yet come forward for the screening. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Even if the, vaccination rates are lower than they would like for this pledge to go through, it's still really reassuring to know that there's an option out there for those that want to make sure that they're protected that is showing to actually be viable and it works. Mm-hmm. That's really, really cool. And anywhere where we can eliminate cancer as an issue is something to be celebrated. So,
yeah. Only if all the other cancers are as simple of a vaccination.
There's been other ones we talked about on this podcast. Like, I think there was one for prostate cancer where they were like finding a cure for that. And then there was another one for breast cancer where they identified different strains of the cancer, I believe, that they could better target it. So there are like big improvements and like findings that are happening, it seems, in a variety of different cancers. So that's all really reassuring. So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And with that, we will end today's podcast episode. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. In a couple weeks, we'll have our next episode. And if you have any positive stories that you'd like to share, you can share them many ways. You can email us at upliftingpositivestories@gmail.com. Or we do also have a Facebook group that you can join. And through there, you can share your positive stories. Or you can also post them on our public Facebook page if you'd like as well. We would like to get a lot of stories from people if they'd be willing to share them. It's just really cool when we know it's from the audience and like we're all sharing it together, and I don't know, it'd just be really cool.
Yeah. And before we wrap it up, also I want to make a quick another movie recommendation. We watched a couple recently. Man Called Otto, we already talked about a little bit.
Yep.
But more recently, and it's here, this is like a hear us out. Sheep Detectives with Hugh Jackman. The premise is stupid and silly, but the movie is incredibly profound. And not only is it like funny and entertaining, but it's really like kind of emotionally devastating, like at several parts, and like actually sticks with you for a while. I keep seeing the reels go out there. The running joke is like, okay, I guess I'll watch the Sheep Detective movie, and then afterwards like, why am I crying?
It's a movie.
I thought people were joking.
Yeah, a movie about sheep.
It's actually pretty decent whodunit too. Like,
yeah,
it's actually pretty all right in that regard too.
Yeah, it's really good. Highly recommend. So a couple movies if you're looking for something to watch. And yeah,
no trigger warning required for that one. Besides, it's got a murder in it because it's a murder mystery.
Yeah, poor Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks again for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
And stay positive.